Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. This is about a day later than the video that was last week. I had a bit of a scratchy throat, so it's been a little bit difficult to record this, but nevertheless, this is an Assetto Corsa review video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at another car from the Ready to Race pack. This is going to be the Toyota Celica GT4 ST185. Now this is a rally car, which is why I've taken it out at Trento Bondone, which is a track I have not been to in such a long time, and because of that I've actually got a track map on. And this is actually the first time I'm also using head tracking on such a tight and twisty course. So you're going to see things go slightly wrong at points where I can't turn my head enough and get myself the correct full lock and stuff like that. I'm also not going full out on this car as you would expect. You know, first of all, I don't know the track that well at all, and secondly, it is a rally car, which means that it's designed to really be pushed and slid around and stuff like that, which is something I am not doing. So there you go, there's problem number one. I'm going to do a few of those knocks like that, but not so many, so I'll get a decent amount of driving in, I hope. So yeah, I'm not going to be pushing it and sliding it around too much, but I will push it a little bit here and there and everywhere. Anyway, the Toyota Celica GT4 ST185, otherwise known as the RC, I believe, is a rally car that made its debut in the 1992 Monte Carlo Rally. It was built between 1992 and 1994. It was a replacement to the ST165, which was a very good rally car in and of itself. So they did a number of tweaks to this car. I think this was actually called the Carlos Sainz edition. Now, some of you might know Carlos Sainz as a name from Formula 1. Carlos Sainz, we're talking about Carlos Sainz Sr., who was a World Rally Championship, I think double World Champion. He partnered with Colin McRae in the Subaru Imprezas, but before that, he was a driver of one of these. He's a Toyota Celica driver. So there we go. I think 1990 is when he'd won a World Rally Championship in a Toyota Celica. So not this particular Toyota Celica. Anyway. So yeah, this is one of those rally cars, and it took a while for them to get up to speed. I think it took them all the way until the rally in Spain, Catalonia Rally. I think it was the Catalonia Rally. That's when they really started to get to grips with this particular car and you know, move forward. It was still driven by Sainz, the 1992 car. It was driven by Sainz, but it didn't have the same success as Sainz had in the other Celica. In 1993 we had this livery come out, so this is actually a real livery, the Castro livery. I think many people know this livery. It's one of the most famous liveries of all time, the red, white and green of Castro. And they changed to Michelin tires, so they got better performance out of that, and they did change the drivers as well. And once they did that, that's where they finally won the World Rally Championship Manufacturers Championship. So they really pushed it, and then you know, it did really go far. And by the time we got further up in the life of this car, I think they had Kankunen. I think that was his name. Kankunen was the driver for this, and in 1994, I think. 94 or 93, he won a rally championship with that was his fourth rally championship, and he won it with Toyota, and it was a massive amount ahead of the field. I can't even remember how many points it was. It was quite a significant amount. And then in 1994 they also won the championship, so I can't remember who it was. A Frenchman won his first drivers championship, and Toyota won another manufacturers championship, the second one in a row. So quite an incredible car in that sense. You know, it really did do well, and everyone knows the Celica very well actually. It's like I said, it's not just the colors that everybody knows. It's oops, yep, that was a mistake. It's not just the colors that everybody knows, it's just the car. The Celica is a very well-known car amongst enthusiasts. It's just a really nice car. So, onto the specs of the car. It's a straight 4 engine, the 3S GTE engine, straight 4, transversely mounted, not longitudinally mounted, as you would expect, because it's nice and nice and compact at the front. It's 2 litres and it produces 295 brake horsepower at 5,700 RPM and 459 Newton meters of torque, or 339 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. It's turbocharged with an intercooler, fuel injection. I think it's direct fuel injection, 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cam. So a pretty nifty engine actually, almost 300 bhp. That's a very nifty engine actually, and plenty of torque, as you would expect to get those wheels moving. Now it is a 4-wheel drive car, so we are going to have some of the issues of 4-wheel drives, and because I don't have a handbrake, some of the tighter corners, bit of a problem to go around quickly. Just because I don't have a handbrake, and yeah, that was a little bit of an issue. The chassis is made out of Yintri steel, so it's a steel chassis. As you can imagine, this is the 90s. We're not talking carbon fibre or anything anymore. We're talking steel. McPherson strut. I think the shock absorbers were Bilstein. I think they were Bilstein. Brakes, obviously, naturally, they have to be really good. So they're ventilated discs all around, no drums on this, and it was a 6-speed manual gearbox, and like I mentioned, all-wheel drive. So 6-speed, bolted to an all-wheel drivetrain. I think it meant we could get some pretty good speed on this car. Last but not least, the weight of this car was 1,100 kilograms, or 2,400 pounds. Now, the thing is, I think in Assetto Corsa it puts it as 1,045 kilos. I think that may be slightly underweight. I don't think that's the right weight of this car, but you know, I could be wrong, but it's in and around that amount. I think it's 1,100 kilos, but it is in and around that amount, so it's not too far off. And yeah, that means it's a pretty light car for the amount of power that it gives. And you know, given that it's a rally car, it has, if you're looking around inside as I'm going through all these corners, you can see there's a lot of carbon fibre and stuff, but we'll just get onto that in a moment. Those were all the specs of the cars. Time to get on with modelling, texturing, sounds, physics, and my overall score. Modelling. Well, modelling, it's there we go again. I've just gone and binned it again, or not really binned it. That was actually my fault. That wasn't anything to do with lock. That was just not getting that corner right. Modelling, very good modelling, inside and out. I was very impressed. I love pop-up headlights. Pop-up headlights always look cool, and it looks very accurate. As again, I struggled a little bit through this section. I don't know why. I think I was just caught a little bit off guard. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So very nice on the modelling and the texturing. I'm thoroughly impressed. Again, the textures outside just not as crisp as I'd want them to be, particularly on the bonnet of the car. For those of you in America, that would be the hood. I don't know why you call it the hood. The hood is a character from the Thunderbirds. Anyway, sorry, I'm just going to knock myself way off track there. Back to this, yes. Not talking about the hood, talking about the bonnet here. So the texturing on the bonnet, you know, it's because you can use it in that bonnet view or hood view. It's you can see that texture loss, and it kind of makes it a little bit sad that you can see that, but otherwise it's absolutely fine. Inside is very nice. You know, you can see it's got a nice old style tachometer. There's no speedometer on one of these things. There's a little there's just your tachometer, and you've got a little rev light, stuff like that. Bright orange light. I'm not sure what that bright orange light in the middle is for. I think, is that a 3, 2, 1 go? I really don't know. This car doesn't even tell you what gear it's in. I know it's a rally car, but it doesn't even tell you what gear it is in. It's one of those. And you can see it's got a bunch of, it looks like circuit breakers and that on that side, or you know, buttons that you can use, lighting controls, all that kind of stuff. So it is really a rally car. It really is a rally car, and it looks the part. It really does look the part. Sounds wise, inside sounds pretty good. It really does sound pretty good. It's the outside sounds, again, they're accurate, and I think I pointed this out with another car as well. They're accurate, but they're not, I don't know, there just seems to be something that's still missing from this. Comparing it to the actual car, the actual car sounds like it's got a little bit more bass. It sounds like a little bit deeper, a little bit more muffled. There's a bit of a muffled noise. This sounds a little bit too crisp, but all the samples seem to be there. You know, all the turbo dump valve, which you can hear quite clearly. There you go, like that. You can hear the backfire noises, the sounds of the engine, the revving, the exhaust note. All that is there. All the samples are absolutely perfect, but it just sounds like the balance of them slightly off, and I don't know why that is. I just think, like I said, it's a limitation with the sound engine. Sounds fairly good as I actually get the first little bit of a slider on. Did not expect it. I went into the Armco barrier, but not least, it's the physics. The physics are the important part of this. What does it feel like to drive? Well, it's a four-wheel drive, so we do struggle a little bit with understeer, on power understeer as you come out of the tighter corners, and you know, you can see that there is a little bit of understeer there, but it's really, you've got to put your foot down hard enough to break traction on the wheels. If you can break traction on the wheels, it's actually quite good. It really is quite good. I tried it on another track after this, and it feels, once you break that traction, it feels really quite alive. It feels like a rally car. It really does feel like a rally car. And I think on a rally track, you know, on a dirt track or something, this would really be in its own league. It really would be in its own league. It's that good. I enjoyed the way it feels. I enjoyed the way the suspension set up quite well. I mean, it's not really a stiff suspension. It's got a fair amount of rebound. But it's a suspension that is designed to really cope with bumps. It's a suspension that's designed to cope with whatever terrain is thrown at it, but not have too much bounce that you lose control of the car. So it's still fairly stiffly sprung, but it's got a good balance to it. I think it's got a really nice balance, and overall, that's what I found of this car. I found the car had a good balance overall on it, and it just made it a very nice car to drive, in the feeling that it felt like a car you could lean on. It was just my lack of confidence on this particular track that I wasn't leaning on the car as much, and I was, you know, coming off the throttle a little bit hard earlier or something like that. Last but not least, I was braking. When I was braking, you've really got to, I suppose you can use it to your advantage, but the front brakes seem to lock up probably a little bit easier than the rear brakes, particularly when you're coming into a turn and you just hit a slight bump or something. You end up with a lock up on the front brakes. I'm sure you've seen it in the replay box quite a few times, but that's actually quite nice. It does actually help your turning, and it helps you judge the maximum amount of grip, so I do like that. Overall, I've got to give this car a 9 out of 10. Kunos are doing really well, getting really high scores from me. Some of their cars before never used to get as high a score. They used to be like 8s and 7s, but this time, you know, they've really pulled it out with this bike. So I'm going to give this car a 9 out of 10. It really is well worth a drive. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know if you've picked up the Ready to Race DLC, and what you think of this car, and you know, of the pack in general. And if you haven't picked up the Ready to Race DLC, let me know if this is changing your mind to pick up that particular DLC pack, because that's the idea. The idea here is for, obviously, to review these so that you guys can judge for yourself. Last but not least, do support me on Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. I would massively appreciate your support. It would help me make more videos, loads of videos like this, and you'll get access to some behind the scenes exclusives, some outtakes, some plans, random rambles, and you know, who knows what could be on Patreon. You'd have to join to find out. Thank you very much for watching once again as I take a look around this car, and I will see you guys in the next episode of Assetto Corsa.